Hey guys, Coach Moore here with Atomic Athlete. I'm gonna go over week 4 of Osiris. So our first 3 weeks of Osiris were kind of our build phase. We're getting used to the exercises, we're getting used to the volume of work, but really what we were doing was establishing the load with our max reps on our primary lifts and also identifying the difference between going to max reps inside of technique failure, which was for our primary lift, so that was our squat and our press of each week, and then going to failure on our secondary lifts where we're actually going to muscular failure. So for our in-gym athletes, we're really trying to establish the difference between the two and why it's so important that we don't take a technical lift to failure, but we can take a muscle group to failure. So now we're starting our next 3 weeks of the phase, and this is when it starts to get really rowdy. We're actually going all the way back to the beginning. We're going back to 8 reps, but we're gonna add a whole nother round. So where we were doing 5 rounds, now we're gonna do 6. Where we were doing 4 rounds, now we're gonna do 5. So it's gonna, week 1 is gonna be, we're basically kind of stabilizing, getting used to the work, and then we're really gonna see that volume increase in weeks 2 and 3 through this phase, or I guess it's gonna be week 5 and 6 for the total deal. What we're seeing with this specifically, what we want to think about, same rules apply. Most of us should be at our appropriate loads now. We're just revisiting a lot of these primary exercises. So most people have a pretty good idea where they're at on this. We'll still go to those max reps in those later rounds. If you're loaded appropriately, you're going to, but dictated on where you're on the cycle, you'll still have a rep or 2 in the tank. Now, these will be 2 technique failures. So ultimately what that looks like is it's not muscular failure. What we're training is where you are the weakest, not where you're the strongest. So what that means is we're going to max reps on a front squat and our core starts to engage or starts to kind of fall apart. We start to get sloppy or fall forward. That means our core has failed. So we're pretty much done. Even though the legs have a little bit more in them, that's totally fine. We're trying to train that weakest muscle group and get it up to par. And then the same thing applies when we go to our secondary lift. We're gonna take those to muscular failure. So anytime you see max reps on the primary lift, that's always gonna be inside of failure. Anytime you see max reps on the secondary lift, that's always gonna be to total failure. And when we go to total failure, I totally accept slop on some of those lifts. What I mean by that is if you're doing short range of push-ups, anything like that, totally fine with it. And the way to make that really exciting is really focus on the eccentrics. So as long as most of your reps, like 90% are full range of motion, I'm super fucking happy. Those last couple reps, especially when we're going to max reps on a secondary muscle group, those can be shorter reps provided we've got a good deep muscular burn. Now, most of us do not need to increase load on any of these exercises. There are a few exceptions there. Brand new athletes that they just get stronger every single day they come in, and veteran athletes that have taken time off and are coming back. They might have started kind of at pedestrian loads, but now they're starting to get their feet back underneath them. Both of those athletes, it is okay to increase intensity and volume. If you don't fall into either of those categories, the max reps will dictate kind of where you're set up. If you get into this and in week 1, you're like, man, I could have easily gotten 10 or 15 max reps and it was the same load, then you know you need to go up in weight. The same rules still apply on all this stuff. So that, like we have all these things set up to allow you to kind of control your destiny on what this looks like. Now, my rule on increasing weight, and I've talked about this before, is if we start to get joint pain with the increase in weight, it's not worth it. Just go back down in weight, move the barbell slower, move the dumbbell slower, whatever it is. Really focus on the eccentrics so you get that deep muscular burn and you don't get joint pain. If you're consistently getting joint pain, then we're causing an injury or we're exacerbating an injury. Basically, you're just moving the ceiling from here to right fucking here to right fucking here to right fucking here, right? So keep the ceiling as far fucking away as possible so we can keep working towards it and not mash the ceiling back down on us. So ultimately, take care of your fucking body. Listen to it. We have so many ways to work around through this cycle. Outside of that, it's this first week is going to be okay. Second and third week, just like the last cycle, are going to be really, really rowdy. If you have questions or concerns, email me, tod@atomic-athlete.com, and I'll be happy to clarify any of those for you. Otherwise, lift hard, lift heavy, lift safe. You guys have a great day.